Hello and welcome to Blu-ray review number 11. Yeah, bit of a change of scenery. I'm back home in Wales for a while, for a few weeks. And this spot right here is where I filmed the very first Blu-ray review back in August 2012, so almost 3 years ago. Yeah, I said that I was going to make the Blu-ray review, many times I've said that I was going to make the Blu-ray review a main feature of my channel, and it's never really happened because in 3 years we've done 10 reviews. Well, that's about to change. Okay, so I said that's about to change, and that's probably not going to be the case. I'm sure I'm going to go back on this, but I really want to make this the main part of my channel. So I'll try and crank out as many as I can, and have a backlog of them, hopefully. And yeah, I just want to get back into it. You know, now that I've done with the 24-hour movie marathon for this year, and there's not really too many other things I've got lined up for YouTube. I think I can now concentrate on doing Blu-ray reviews. So that's what we're going to do. But today we're going to kick things back off with Blu-ray review number 11. Blu-ray review number 11, and this one is, let's do a little Darren Lock. Coffy. Yes, this is Coffy from Arrow Video. This just came out, I think, a month or two ago, something like that, and this is a great release. And yeah, I've gone full on with this one, and that's what I always like to do when I review a Blu-ray. In fact, I think it'd be better if I go like this. Yeah, so I've watched everything, I've read everything in the booklet, so I can give you a full review of this film and this Blu-ray itself. So, the film's from 1971, I believe, is that right? Oh, 1973, okay, I got it wrong right off the bat. 1973, this is a film by Jack Hill, who directed a lot of films in the 60s and 70s. He has a few other ones from Arrow Video. In fact, I've got one right here in my to sell stack. I've got a huge stack of Blu-rays here that I'm selling. Huge stack of Blu-rays. Shout out to Matt Turi. This is another Jack Hill film, Pit Stop, which is I've reviewed this before on the Blu-ray review. So you can go check that out if you want more thoughts on that. But I love this film and this Blu-ray. It's a shame I have to sell it, but you know, it's not essential at the minute. So, yeah, Coffy. Jack Hill wrote and directed this film. He was approached by the company who made it, and they wanted him to make a black woman revenge film. I think a film called Cleopatra Jones had come out, and so they wanted to kind of emulate that, basically. And this really paved the way for a lot of strong female roles in films, because this is, of course, a blaxploitation film, which what they call it, which are films that heavily feature black actors and were kind of filmed in the early 70s, throughout the 70s, really. And yeah, it's kind of a genre into itself, you know, that kind of exploitation, cheap kind of film genre, I guess. I mean, I'm not the biggest expert, but using, again, mainly black actors. And Pam Grier, who plays Coffy in the film, she kind of spearheaded a more stronger, female-orientated blaxploitation film with this. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed the film a lot. Wasn't sure what to make of it when it first started. I was like, oh, am I going to enjoy this? But literally within the first 3 or 4 minutes, it's like, wow, you know. And I won't say that it's like, you know, like a 10 out of 10 film. It's not a masterpiece. You know, some people call it a classic now. I don't know if I even call it a classic, but I did enjoy it a lot. The film opens, it's very 70s. Opens in this club, and there's this guy who he goes up to this guy, this kind of drug kingpin, basically, and he says, I've got this girl in the back of my car, or in the back of your car. So he takes this kingpin out to this car, and he sees Coffy, played by Pam Grier, and she's lying in the back of the car, and she's like strung up on drugs, and she's going to sleep with him to get more heroin, basically. And this isn't really giving too much away, but you know, they drive off, and then we get kind of the titles and all the credits of the film, and then they get to the house, and he's getting ready to pull his pants down, and she just whips out this shotgun. And she's like, this is the last thing you're ever gonna see, you motherfucking dope pusher, and she just blows his brains out. It's awesome. Basically, she was pretending to be strung out, she was pretending to be a prostitute, because this kingpin had got her young, I think 11-year-old sister onto heroin, and so she was kind of on a mission to kind of just just kill this guy basically. And then the film goes on and other characters are introduced, and she gets involved in this web of all these people who are involved in selling drugs and all that kind of stuff, prostitution. And basically she has a lot of people. I mean, she has a friend who's a cop, and he's like, you know, you can't just go around killing people he doesn't know that she's done this, but he's saying, you know, as a theory, you can't just go around killing people to get things done, you know, because there's always going to be someone else. There's always going to be someone else who's going to come in and make things even worse, and, you know, unless you kill all of them. And she's like, well, why can't someone just kill all of them? And that kind of becomes the theme of the film, basically. She goes after a lot of people, but they go after her as well, and so it's very much a revenge film. And she's a nurse, actually, by day. But what I loved about the film, because it very easily could have just been a revenge film, her just killing all these guys, and she kind of does, but they could have not dealt with the consequences of that to her personally. There are quite moments where she kind of reflects on what she's done, and she can't even believe what she's done. And there's a great line in the film where she says she feels like she's in a dream. She feel, you know, and apparently Quentin Tarantino loved that line and quoted it to Jack Hill when he met him at a screening of Coffy, and how much he loved the line. I thought it was a great line too, and there are some really good lines peppered throughout the film. But yeah, overall, you know, the music is great as well, and anyone who's seen Jackie Brown, Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown, will recognise some of the cues that he used from Coffy as well. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun, you know, and it's gritty, it's raw. There's a couple of actors in there aren't too good, you know, but it feels very 70s. It feels very of its time. It feels like a snapshot of that period of cinema, and I really enjoyed it. Pam Grier I thought was great. A couple of times she wasn't as convincing as she was in the rest of the film, I'll say that. A few lines I thought didn't sound too great, but the rest she was great. And also the ending, and another part of the film, she brought more emotion to it, which was suitable to the character and what was happening, and I thought she did a fantastic job with that. But yeah, overall a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Haven't seen Foxy Brown, which is supposed to be a sequel to the film, but they changed it to be just another film starring Pam Grier, but it's basically a sequel. So I'll be looking forward to checking that out at some point. Our video, I've already released that, I think, a couple of years ago. But yeah, the film itself, you know, I probably enjoyed it as much as maybe like a 4.5 out of 5, but I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think 3.5 King Georges out of 5 I'll give this film. The Blu-ray itself is brilliant. It looks great. There are still some crackles and stuff and little tiny bits of, you know, stuff on the film print, but you can tell because there's a video essay on the film which uses on the Blu-ray, which uses clips from the film, and you can see that the clips are a lot more there's a lot more crackles going on the film print than on the actual Blu-ray presentation of the film, so that you can tell they've done a great restoration of the film. Yeah, and it just, you know, they've made it look really good. Obviously, they can't go in every single frame and make everything look perfect, but it kind of adds to it, you know? It kind of adds to the raw 70s feel of the film for me, to see those little crackles every once in a while, you know, but generally it looked great. Again, I'm no audiophile or, you know, I'm not really one of those people who knows much about crushed blacks or the gamma, you know, the level of gamma in the color or whatever. I know nothing about stuff like that, but looked and sounded great to me. So yeah, as far as the video and the audio, I give it a good solid, I think 4.5 out of 5 for me. Just looked and sounded great. Then we move on to the special features. Here's the cover, and this is the reversible artwork. This is not the artwork that you see when you first get the Blu-ray, and this is one of the original posters, and they actually made an error on this, if you can see. It says, she's the godmother of them all, I think, is that what she said? Yeah, she's the godmother of them all, the baddest one-chick hit squad that ever hit the town. But as you can see there, it says, the ever hit the town. So there's a big spelling error there, and I don't know why, because I would have assumed that they would just, you know, scan in the original poster and put it as the cover. But I'm guessing that they recreated the text themselves and made a spelling error. I believe this has been rectified. Whenever you order it now, it will have the correct text on this reversible sleeve, and I'm sure if you can contact Arrow, if you have this copy, they will send you the reversible sleeve. So yeah, but I like this cover, and it looks really great. And there's all the special features and stuff on the back, which I'll talk about, but I'll just flip the artwork around and show you what that one's like. I think I do prefer the new artwork that they've come up with, because it features one of the best parts of the film, which is at the beginning. There's a few parts in the film where she, well, not just her, there's a few parts in the film where people die, and they've kind of, it's quite violent, and they've used like kind of just dummies basically stuffed with clothes, and it doesn't look like super realistic, but there's something funny about it. But at the same time, it's kind of thrilling. I don't know, like it kind of works, and it's kind of its time, and I really enjoyed that part of it. As a guy who just gets run over, and you see this dummy get knocked over, but it kind of works at the same time because it just looks like he's been taken out and he's just like dead instantly, and his body's gone completely limp. And yeah, here you go. Here's the new cover they've come up with, which I really like, and this is the scene at the beginning where she just pulls that shotgun out, which is awesome. So there you go, and then the cover is a slightly different color to it. So special features. Obviously you have the subtitles. It's original uncompressed mono PCM audio. There's an audio commentary by director Jack Hill, which I really enjoyed. I listened to it in about 3 sittings, about half an hour each, and I really enjoyed hearing his thoughts. I don't know whether, I'm pretty sure, it sounds like he recorded this like maybe for an original DVD or something like that. It doesn't feel like he recorded it for this Arrow release, so I'm not too sure about that. It doesn't say anywhere. It's a dry commentary, I'll definitely say that. There's times where he'll just pause. You won't really, there'll be a gap and he won't say much. Sounds like he's kind of gathering his thoughts. But for the most part, he definitely has a lot to say, and he talks about the making of the film. There's some great stories in there, especially interesting hearing how he had trouble with the studio. And, there's a low-budget film and things like that, and he wanted to do things his way, and they didn't want him to do things a lot of the time. There's a scene where Coffy changes out, she switches this guy's heroin stash, and she puts sugar in there, and she's in this room on her own and she's doing it, and that's enough really. But she says to herself, even though she's the only person in the room, oh, sugar for smack, let's see what your customers think of this. And it felt to me at the time, I was like, oh, that's a bit out of place. Like, did she really need to say that to herself out loud? But he said in the audio commentary that the studio forced him to do that basically because they thought it wasn't clear enough that she was messing with his stash, and it becomes clear later on exactly what she did with it as well. But he said that he kind of would win certain little things, he'd get to do something his way, but then they'd change something else. And he also talks about how, like, sometimes because of the limitations, because they had to get so much done in such a short amount of time, that it kind of, you have these kind of like happy little accidents and stuff. So I really enjoyed the audio commentary with Jack Hill. Great stuff. A Taste of Coffee, a brand new interview with Jack Hill. This was recorded new for Arrow. Again, he talks about some of the same stuff. You hear some of the same stories, I guess. Whenever he's interviewed about it, he tells the same things. But you get to see him now and talking about it, and it was pretty interesting. I believe that was about 15 minutes long, something like that. Then we have The Baddest Chick in Town, a brand new interview with Pam Grier on Coffy, and its follow-up, Foxy Brown, so a new interview with Pam Grier recorded for this release. And again, she talks about playing the part and also the sequel, Foxy Brown. I found it quite interesting what she had to say about, again, women's roles in films at the time, and how, being Coffy and that film and Foxy Brown also kind of changed a lot of the way that films were going in the 70s and stuff, by having strong female characters. I think that was also around 15 minutes long, something like that. I didn't get the exact time for this one. And then Blaxploitation, a video essay by author Mikkel J. Coven, who I think wrote Blaxploitation film, on the history and development of the genre, which is a 30-minute video essay on Blaxploitation in general, but also black people's roles in film, throughout history, dating to, he talks about, I think, The Help from 2011, but he also talks about films from the silent era, going back to 1915 with The Birth of a Nation, and how originally black people were literally seen as not being able to register on film. Literally, they said that black people won't show up well, on film cameras. When they film them, they won't show up very well on screen. So they would have white actors, paint themselves black and stuff. And you see all this racist stuff, and you see the progression. And it was a good video essay, about half an hour, like I said. But I think the guy who narrated it and wrote it, I think he should have done a couple of retakes, because it sounded like he recorded it in one go, or he just used the first takes, or whoever produced the video used the first takes, because he stumbles a couple of times over his lines and just keeps on going. For me personally, I would have been a bit more perfectionist about that, but it was a very, very interesting look at the blaxploitation genre, and also the roles of black people in film over the past 100 years, literally. And then you get the original theatrical trailer, which actually gives away a lot from the film. You always get people saying, oh, trailers these days, they give away so much about the film. Go back to the 70s, go back to, they're always showing too much of films and trailers. And I think that was in high definition as well. There's an image gallery, there's some cool images there, not too many, but there's some cool behind the scenes shots. And again, the reversible sleeve, which you've seen now. And also finally the booklet, and here's the disc artwork as well, which is really nice and matches with the another one, the original poster artwork that was used for the front cover of the booklet. And yeah, it's a really nice little booklet from Arrow. They always do really nice ones. And this has two, I guess, essay articles in here. I'll read them out to you now. We have Coffy by Cullen Gallagher and Pam Grier by Yvonne D. Sims. Now, basically, the one about Coffy, it was a good read, but sometimes, you know, no offense, I just feel like some of the writings in this get a bit wanky for me. It's just me. I just feel like, you know, he kind of analysed things too much, maybe. There's a lot of stuff here. I did enjoy it, but at times it just kind of lost my interest and felt like it was just a bit too wordy for me. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, it was still interesting, and you got some nice pictures in here in between the pages of text as well. And then there's a little kind of biography on Pam Grier, which is pretty short, but kind of summarises her career and her life, really. And that was a good read. It was a lot shorter and easier to get through, but there you go, and you get all notes about the production, the transfer and everything. It was transferred from a 35mm into positive, and yeah, some minor picture and audio issues remain in keeping with the condition of the original materials. Yeah, like I said, you still see some scratches and stuff, but it kind of enhanced the experience for me, because it felt, you know, felt very gritty and raw, which is kind of the tone of the film anyway. So there we go. As I said, 3.5 King Georges out of 5 for this film. The Blu-ray itself, I'd give a solid 4 out of 5, I think, and as a whole, again, probably around 4 out of 5. Definitely recommend this one. And yeah, that's it for now, I think. I think I've rambled on far too long. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one.
Really nice guy, he looks after his friends. He only chucks them about the place a couple of times on the weekend. Yeah, he's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans of Carlin into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool.